I want everyday life to be better.
That's what they want too.
You get up in the morning, yeah, but importantly, like all the controversies are over what that's like. I want you to have good public transit to get to where you're going. And then when you get to that job, I want you to be paid well. And if you're about to have a kid, I want you to know that you're going to have parental leave when you have that kid. And if you don't want to have a kid, I want you to have the right to choose whether to have a kid, which means access to birth control and abortion and those things that give you the freedom to decide on that. That's the life I want everybody to be able to live.
Yeah, I think
we can deliver that.
That's fine.
So that is Pete Buttigieg, obviously, on the Andrew Schulz podcast, and his appearance has gone viral. What he said there, I think, makes perfect sense. It is good messaging. And I don't understand why it went viral. It doesn't seem like much. Am I the bad guy here? No problem with Pete Buttigieg. I like Democrats going out and doing good messaging, and like he's got like a good vibe with them and everything, but like, I don't know what was the hard-hitting thing that he said. I mean,
no, and he's not, part of his issue as a candidate was always that he wasn't really a viral type of personality at a time of virality. So, yeah, that's I don't. The beard is what's sending it viral.
Maybe he looks tan. He's got the beard. He didn't do a tie or whatever. All of these are he just did it. He didn't consciously decide on any of this. But anyway, I have no problem with anything that he said there. And I think he's done a much better job for himself of the viral stuff over the past couple of years. Like he's gone on Fox News. And he did that a bunch of times. And I thought he was quite good in those appearances. So I'm not trying to hate him. I just sometimes I don't understand why some things break through and others don't. But that said, we're gonna get a little bit more of what he had to say on the podcast, and then I want to hear what Jordan has to say about this.
And if you already have a kid, when you picked him up at school, I want that school to be good, not having his funding slashed while they set fire to the Department of Education. And then when you get home, I want you to be in a neighborhood that is safe and where you can breathe the air, because we didn't let them get rid of the Clean Air Act. And you don't have to think for one moment about whether the air you breathe or the water you drink is clean and clear, which actually takes a lot, because it means the government has to constrain those actors that would make you unfree by polluting the air and polluting the water. And then when you go to bed, I want you to know that your family's gonna be fine, even if it's family like mine, despite there being some Supreme Court justice who wants to obliterate your family because it doesn't match his interpretation of his religion. Like, that's the life I want everybody to be able to live.
Yeah.
So everything he said there was very well received by those guys. And again, I don't have any problem with anything he said. It seemed like a very basic description of just like, let's set up the system so that people aren't crushed under government, but also not crushed by corporations. I understand it's being pitched as, hey, it's common sense, but like, yeah, but is that, I don't understand. So maybe Jordan, maybe you can explain, why do you think this has broken through in this particular way, and what do you make of it?
Easily, it's where he's saying it. That's it. And you guys brought up the Fox clips. Those went viral because of where he was saying it. If he goes and says that on MSNBC, no one's gonna share it, because he's just preaching to the choir. But he goes into hostile territory on Fox. He makes his case persuasively. People like it because they know, not just them, but everyone else watching it, and the majority of Fox viewers are right-wingers. They're hearing something different. It's counter-programming. This show was one of the more influential shows during the election. You had this long conversation after Trump wins. Hey, whoa, the right is dominating the new media space. Okay, so the answer is, and I think what he's doing differently is he's going into those spaces and making his case firmly. He's not doing what people like Gavin Newsom are doing and having the right on his shows. Like, people don't care what Steve Bannon thinks, and people don't want to see you cozying up to Steve Bannon and Charlie Kirk. But what they see here is Pete going on, standing his ground, not caving and finding room for agreement with right-wing positions on shows like Flagrant. He's going on and sticking to his guns, and people like that. That's why I think it's gaining traction, because they know it's a hostile space, and the hosts were all in agreement with them. And for them, these aren't politics first guys. These are comedians and pop culture commentators. But they have routinely had right-wing guests on who push right-wing talking points and a right-wing agenda. Then they find, oh, hey, you know what? I don't agree, or I don't disagree with what Democrats or liberals like Pete Buttigieg is saying. In one of his clips, Andrew Schulz was agreeing so much, he's like, look at us, we're turning into a bunch of libs. So like, it's important that people go on to these shows and into these spaces and make your case. And the best way of doing it is to stay firm in your positions, not go on and be like, oh, I agree with you on this right-wing culture war issue, or oh, I agree with you on that issue. Go on and stay firm. That's what people want to see.
Okay, good. That's a very helpful explanation. I'm glad. I don't know much about their politics, and so I suppose, based on what you're saying, it's not a message where I'm the audience for it. Like the expectation wouldn't be that I need to hear that, and that's fine. Tailor your message to where you go. And again, like I said, I got no disagreement with anything he said there. Just didn't really understand exactly why it was breaking through the way that it did.
Yeah, and Jordan answered. I mean, because of where he went. Even though I don't know who those people are either, so it wouldn't have gone viral in my house. But they weren't talking about gambling or hockey or anything anyway, so it wouldn't have. But yeah, and I think that. Just in the Newsom conversation, a little bit different just because he's the governor still. And I think if he goes into other people's, although it's not an excuse, he should still do it. But if he goes on to other people's shows, it becomes the dynamic changes. It'll be interesting is what I guess I'm saying to see when his gubernatorial term ends, if he does do more of the stuff that you see Buttigieg doing here, going into hostile territory rather than have hostile people that we don't care about coming into his territory. So I wonder if it's just because he's a governor. I don't know. I don't know the answer to it, but I'm musing aloud over what Jordan said.
That is interesting. Here's what I'd like to do. Can we take like 1 minute? Can we just play the last video, D4, and get quick responses, because this video has generated a lot of headlines too in a slightly different way. It's very different than the Pete Buttigieg thing, but let's play this and then see what the guys think.
You know, Idaho, I am so touched being here. I'm a girl from the Bronx. To be welcomed here in this state, all of us together, seeing our common cause, this is what this country is all about. Don't let them trick us into thinking we are enemies. Don't let them trick us into thinking we can be separated into rural and urban, black and white and Latino. We are one. Miracles start with mustard seeds, and that is what each and every one of you represent today. Small miracles of faith in ourselves, in each other, and in the refusal to give up.
So the main reason I wanted to play that was there were headlines going around, I think on like The Hill, where it's like AOC releases like presidential style video, and I was like, it's clickbait. It's just a video to promote the Fight the Oligarchy tour. And then I watched it and I was like, yeah, no, it does kind of feel like
it does. It also doesn't seem any different than, I mean, kudos to what they're doing out there. I think it's great at keeping people excited, interested, and engaged. Super important, and these are two very, very impressive people. But it's what she said in that video, as good as it was, is no different than what Kamala Harris said in her videos in 2024. And so, yeah, it's exciting and it's good. And again, I'm so happy that people are getting people excited and remaining interested. I think that's super important. I don't know if Nampa, Idaho, but of course it's a 50-state country until Canada shows up.
Jordan, what did you think, and would you have liked that same message better if it was delivered in a right-wing podcast? What do you think?
But that's like all my media consumption, so I didn't hear it for the first time until tonight.
That's why you wear the golf shirts, right? So you can fit in.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's fine. I definitely see how it was like, it had the appearance and tone of a potential 2028 ad, just planting the seed, a mustard seed, if you will. But again, like that rally, I think it's important to talk about, like, it's about where you're saying these things, and she's in Idaho.
Yeah.
And you have people like Alyssa Slotkin who are saying Democrats need to stop using the term oligarchy. No one knows what it means. You have an arena in Idaho filled to the brim with people under the banner of Fight the Oligarchy. Like to what Michael is saying, like what they're doing is impressive right now. Both Pete going out and being a clear messenger, and also AOC and Sanders filling arenas in red and purple states under this banner. They are forcing a conversation about political dynamics and wealth disparity and who controls power in this country that is absolutely essential. And all Democrats would be wise to get behind them, because what they're seeing is the beginning of a movement that they can ride into the midterms and ultimately 2028.
Yeah. Or for establishment Democrats, pay attention to this so that you can desperately try to stop it and doom Democratic chances in the midterms in 2028.
Well, okay. That's a different conversation, but yeah, I know what you're saying, John. They have to take this message and get white working voters, male union members and voters back, which Sanders is very good at, and I don't know that Representative Ocasio-Cortez is, but we'll see.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. totally not true. But it does keep you updated on our live shows.